Beautiful. Welcome to day 3 of the Emergency Medical Folder Challenge, where we are building a quick grab emergency medical folder with all of the information that you need for you and your family members in case of a medical emergency or just a quick evacuation for your home. So I'm glad that you're joining me this week. Today, we are talking about how to fill in those worksheets that I gave you, right? If you registered, you got free worksheets to make this super, super easy. So you could take your brain out of the process and just answer questions. Well, today we're talking about some tricks to fill this in so much faster with just minutes a day. And I'll quickly go over how to assemble this as well. Sound good? All right. Let's go over the comments. As you hop on, let me know, as usual, who you are and where you're joining me from. I always love to hear from you. I see that Alice is here. She says she just got home after running errands. Welcome, Alice. Glad to see you. And Lori's here. And Ruth, she says she missed yesterday, but she's glad to be back. I'm so glad that you're back. And if you ever miss a day during the challenge, remember that the challenge schedule page, that is the place to go to find all the replays and anything that you might have missed. So that's only available for a short amount of time after the challenge ends on this Sunday. So make sure to check out that challenge schedule page and save that link. All right. The link's also in the video description if you need it. But yeah, I'm so glad that you're here though, Ruth. And I'm sorry that you missed yesterday. Hopefully you can grab the replay. Hello, CJ. She says, hello, everyone. Wow, I'm taking this seriously. I've acquired all my materials and completed yesterday's challenge to complete 3 sections. Loving this. All right, CJ, woot woot. You get a super big congratulations because that is huge. I love that. Welcome, Mary. Mary's here and her daughter, Karen, who's visiting. Or I'm sorry, Karen, Kristen. I can't read. Kristen, who's visiting. Welcome, Mary and Kristen. Hi, Debbie from Sarasota. And CJ says she's here from Northern California. And welcome from Facebook. If you're on Facebook and you want to make sure that your name and your photo actually appear on the screen, you don't have to. You can also just type your name if you'd like. But if you want that to appear on the screen for us, then at the bottom of the video description, there's just a little link and you just have to authorize Facebook to be able to show it. But that's up to you. Either way, I'm glad that you're here. Lori says, info I need to fill in the worksheets are in so many places throughout my home: wallet, multiple files and file cabinets, shelves, cabinets, etc. Well, you were in the right place today, Lori, because we are going to talk about that. Because I don't know about you, but I know for me, if it seems like a big project, it shuts me down. And I have a hard time making progress on it. So I will give you tips for that today. And welcome, Susan. Glad to have you here. All right. Well, as Lori said, she has different pieces of information all around her house. I know you're probably like me, where you're super busy and you're like, I don't know where I'm even going to find time to fill it in. Well, I've got you covered. That is one of the huge parts that we're talking about today. And I've got some tips of how I do it, even though I have, a full-time business from home, which means it never seems to actually end. Got a family. I have ADHD, which means focus is not always my best friend. And I've got a very busy life with parents that I visit nearby and friends that I actually like to see. And, Gilmore Girls, Big Bang Theory, all the important things, right? So if I can do it with the crazy amount of time that I have available, I know that you can do it too, and I'll tell you how. Okay. Oh, and really quickly, I want to say hi, BT. She says she's here again. Hello, welcome, welcome. Okay, so today we will cover how to assemble your emergency medical folder and tricks to fill it in that will only take minutes a day. If you want to learn how to download your worksheets, how to save them to your computer, how to save them for multiple people, because remember, we want one set of the medical papers for each person in your household, how to print them. If you need any of that technical help, then in the video link or video description, there's a link to a video with the technical how-to. I walk you through step by step. All right. You can also find that link, as usual, you're going to hear it over and over again, the challenge schedule page. That also has the link under the day 1 section of the challenge schedule page. So if you need to find anything, then that is where you can find it. All right. So really quickly, if you're enjoying this challenge and if you know anybody who could benefit from setting up an emergency medical folder, make sure to share this challenge with them, especially since it's ending on Sunday. Make sure to share it soon. So if you go to susannak.com, my website, and you can click on that little banner at the top to register, share the registration page with whoever you think would be a good fit for this. All right. The more people who are prepared for emergencies, the better. I just love the fact that people feel much more at peace when they have these things together. I know I do. So share this challenge. Remember, it runs from January 19th through 9th through 15th. And after the 15th, that challenge schedule page will be available for a short amount of time for you to catch up on anything that you need. All right. So share that challenge. Okay, so really quickly, let's talk about how to put your emergency medical folder together, because you have your downloaded sheets, right? You probably have your supply list or have pulled together your supplies. If you don't have the supply list, check the challenge schedule page. But you've got your worksheets, you've got all of your supplies. Let's talk about how to assemble this really quickly. I won't go into a lot of detail about how to use some of these optional supplies that we'll talk about. That's tomorrow. So tomorrow I will talk about some tricks and tips to maximize your folder, what additional things to add into the pockets, how to make keeping prescription information super, super easy and even more informational, all that stuff. So that's tomorrow's live. And remember, tomorrow's live is at 11 a.m. Eastern. So it's 2 hours earlier tomorrow because it's at the normal Thursday talk time. But today, let's talk about assembling it. All right. So of the supplies, I listed the required supplies would be your folder, preferably red plastic, so it's nice and durable, or at least a bright color. Printer paper, so you can print out those worksheets, either if you've typed in information in them, or you can just print them out blank and handwrite your information in them, whatever floats your boat. And I said, grab dividers, one for each person in your household, right? So those were the ones that were the required supplies. If it's only you in your household, you could probably get away without the dividers and just have the folder and the printed out sheets. That would be like the bare minimum. But I do find the dividers help if you have more than one person in the household. So in order to assemble your folder, you're just going to, of course, pull up those spines in the 3-ring folder. And what I like to do in mine is you'll see that I have at the very beginning, I put the checklist, right? And this is just helps you keep track of what you've completed, what you've not completed. And it also tells you what all is in the folder. So it's kind of a quick glance of what types of information you'll find. And then before the first divider, I like to include all that home emergency information. So the non-emergency phone numbers, home alarm systems, pet information, locations of circuit breakers, fuse boxes, things like that. All of the stuff that's general for the home, I like to put that before the first divider. And I only keep one copy of that one. Then in the first divider, you'll see I added a photo of the person the first divider goes to. We'll talk about that tomorrow. But the first divider, after that divider, I include one copy of all of the medical pages, right? Then after that, I like to include a 3-ring pocket folder. So they come in different types. You can get ones more like this. This is just a Jot brand binder pouch, they call it. You can get ones that are Velcro. It doesn't matter, whatever you prefer. But I like to put one behind each person's section just because that's an easy way to keep quick prescription information and information that's specific to that person. You might want just one for your whole binder. It's up to you. Then, of course, divider for the next person, full medical section for the next person, their pouch if that's something you prefer. And then we have 3 people in our household. And then finally, at the very end, I like to include one of these binder page protectors that are made for business cards. And we'll talk again more tomorrow about that, but that's where I like to put that at the very end so that you can hold doctor's business cards, health insurance cards, things like that. Just remember, don't put any social security cards, official IDs, anything with account numbers that could be a problem if somebody else happened to cross your folder. And then sometimes I like one main folder in the very back. I use that for general supplies. Sometimes I put the pet's vaccination records in them if it's easier than 3-hole punching it. So that's about it. And this is just notes to myself. But that's how you put your folder together. If you wanted to, you could stick a big sticker on the front to say that it's your emergency medical folder. That will help first responders and other people know to grab that if they're trying to help you out. So it is good to label it if you can, but it's not to be a nice fancy typed label or anything like that. All right, so remember when assembling your folder, that's just the way that I like to do it. Go ahead and just adjust it based on your own needs. Everybody's a little bit different, right? So if something is, if you prefer a bright orange folder, if you prefer not to have pockets, if you prefer to use page protectors for all the pages, it's completely up to you. Make this yours. I'm just providing you with the core structure. The nice thing is it's made so that you can assemble it however you like it to be. There's no right or wrong way. The only wrong way is to not do it at all, right? And to just get frozen and not do any of it. So any way that you want, try it out. Remember, it's not even permanent. So if you try something and you don't like it, you can change it at any time. There's no pressure, and don't try to be perfect. Okay, so before we go on to the next section, I wanted to head over to the comments really quickly. Hey, Connie. Connie says that she's here. And Sharon, Susan says that she has to miss tomorrow. That's a bummer. She says it's in the schedule part of the website, right? It is. So after the live session is finished tomorrow, then the replay link will be active for the Thursday section in that challenge schedule page. Yes. And Diane's here. Hi, Diane. Great to see you. Love having you here. Okay, so just before I go on to sharing how to fill this in, the emergency medical folder, like I've mentioned before, this is one small part of the larger system that I actually sell that I told you is called the Spark Life Binder, right? So if you order the Spark Life Binder, you do actually get the emergency medical folder with it. The nice thing is you could always share that with another person if you have yours already set up, which is a nice little gift to give to somebody. But the emergency medical folder is simply that quick grab for emergencies. But a lot of times we still stress out about all the other important information in our lives, and our loved ones probably need to know all of the things that are in our head or have easy access to them if we aren't around for some reason. So if you happen to get blessed with a 6-week trip to Tahiti with all of your girlfriends and you can't be reached, does your spouse know all of the information that he needs to know? Do your kids know? If something were to happen to you and your spouse, do your kids know all of the most important information in your life? So that's the difference when we talk about the emergency medical folder and the Spark Life Binder. That's the difference, right? This is just for quick grab, for quick emergencies around the home, medical emergencies to take with you, for evacuations. This has everything. And this is also something, if you were to evacuate, you wanted to make sure that you had all of your important information about your whole life, you could grab this too in an evacuation, but you would not take this to the hospital. This would be way too much personal information to take with you. The relevant medical information is in here. So really quickly, with the Spark Life Binder, right now this is available in the store at SusannaK.com. So when you go to the website and click on the store, this is available for purchase now through the 19th, which is next Thursday. So about a week from tomorrow. And then it is unavailable until towards the end of this year. So your last chance to purchase it is through the 19th, and the price will be going up significantly after the 19th. So just a heads up. But if you grab the Spark Life Binder from the store, then this is your chance to get it. Now, I do have a free webinar. It's called the Important Papers Workshop. And in the Important Papers Workshop, there's only 2 sessions of it. It's free for next week, right? I explain exactly how to set up your own Life Binder. So if you don't want to purchase the Spark Life Binder, or if you want to see more about what would go into it, how to store it, all that important information, then feel free to attend the Important Papers Workshop, right? Because I will tell you how to build your own if you wanted to try to build your own from scratch. If you wanted to save time and get the Spark Life binder so that way you don't have to build the structure, then that's why this is available. But really quickly, with the Spark Life binder, I just wanted to show you some of the sections that are available. There's basic information. So the basic information section is all of those ID numbers, the very basic information about each person. Dependents, so kids and pets, and it goes into all of the detailed information about kids and pets. And you'll see that these are structured just like your emergency medical folder worksheets, right? They're fillable PDFs. You can either print them out and handwrite them, or you can type into them and print them. You can save them. It works the same way. So we take your brain out of the system and you don't even have to think about what you need. And that way you won't forget anything also. You've got a medical section. So the medical section, the difference between the emergency medical folder and the medical section of the Spark Life binder, this would be more of your medical history and things that are not essential for bringing with you to the hospital, but you want to keep a record of them, right? So a lot of times it has some of the same information with it, but it also has like some medical history. It has doctor contact information, a lot of the old vaccine informations that might not be essential to bring with you, where correspondence and medical records are stored, things like that. So you would do one of these per person for your household. You see that there's all these dividers in each section. You have one per person. Then there's end of life. So if something were to happen, what are your wishes? And what is each person in your home's wishes for end of life? We have finance and insurance, all of those financial accounts, the insurance policies, all the details for those. Real estate and personal property. So this would be not only property that you own, but it could be storage units, safe deposit boxes, anywhere that important property is stored. And I talk about how to create a personal property inventory video of your home. Legal and official records. So just any of that legal stuff that you need to keep on file. Digital life. This would have passwords, logins, and important information about your digital life. And then, of course, resources and notes. So this is where I have already for you the How Long to Keep Important Documents guide, kind of a guide for how long to keep certain documents. And you can put additional resources in there. So that's the Spark Life binder. That's the whole rest of the system that the emergency medical folder is one part of. So I just wanted to share that with you really quickly. You'll hear me talk about the Spark Life binder, but join the Important Papers workshop if you do want to see how to either set up your own, or if you want to learn a little bit more about how the Life binder works as far as keeping it safe and how to back it up and things like that. So I hope that you can register for that. And if you do want to grab the Spark Life binder, remember it's available in the store, SusannaK.com, click on store, and it's only available until the 19th, and then the price goes up. All right, so let's get back on track, right? Let's get back to our emergency medical folder, and I'm going to tell you how to fill in your information in just minutes a day, right? While I'm doing this, tell me in the comments, is this your first time doing this challenge, or have you done this challenge before? I know a lot of times it takes a couple times doing it before you really ramp up and get it all feeling like it's finished and how you want it to be. So let me know in the comments while I tell you about tricks to fill in your information faster. Okay, now these tricks work for both the emergency medical folder, and these are also the same way that you fill in your Spark Life binder. So that way it's not a huge project. It's not one more big, massive thing that you have to take hours to do. Because nobody really has a whole lot of hours to just sit and do these things, right? So these tricks work for both of those and also any other big projects that you have. So the first thing I want you to remember is these are a process. They're not a project. So the difference between a process and a project would be something that you complete one time and it's done for good. It's finished. A process would be something that you continue to work on over time, and you work on it in the same way and it's ongoing, because our medical lives change all the time. Same with the Spark Life binder. Our lives change constantly. So even once it's all filled in, it's still a process of going back and updating information, filling in a couple blanks that might have been left unfilled, things like that. So this is not something where there's a finish line, which relieves some of the pressure, right? It's just ongoing. As you have time, you just keep chipping away at it. Even when it's finished, then you just chip away at updating it. So it's a process, not a project. So that way you can focus on the next task. Don't focus on the result. Don't focus on the finish line, right? Don't race to be finished. Focus on what the next step is. We're going to break this down into one small step at a time. So, what's the next step? Don't worry about how close you are to finished or what's not done yet or anything else. Focus on the task, not the result. So, what I like to do with both the emergency medical folder and the Spark Life binder is once you have it assembled, or if you are typing in your information before you print it out to assemble it, right? I want you to just go through the pages and fill in only what you know off the top of your head, because there are a lot of things that you know without having to look them up, right? So just flip through the pages and fill in just the items that you know off the top of your head. You probably know what the life-threatening allergies and conditions would be, right? So just fill those in really quickly. If you want to, you could just handwrite them quickly and then type them up nicely later. It's okay. You know your name, your street address, cell phone number, you know all of those really quickly. So go through page by page. What do you know off the top of your head without having to look it up? And fill in just those. Once those are filled in, then you will feel like you've made so much more progress. And that's your sprint. That's the fastest stuff to get completed. So you might as well get it completed as quickly as possible, because that leaves you with less information to fill in. So you can go back and complete the rest, right? So what you know off the top of your head, then go back and complete the rest. Now, as you're doing this, don't try to be perfect, right? The goal is not to be perfect the first time you go through this. The goal is to do a rough first draft. So try to be accurate, but it does not have to be pretty this first time. That's why it's digital, right? You have the digital version, so that way you can always make it prettier later. So type in the information. You can reformat it later, handwrite it if you want to. You can type it later. Go for the rough first draft. And then we're going to break this down to just one small step at a time. So the way to break down filling in what's left into one small step at a time, first off, you will want to find some simple times in your calendar. So you can either add a calendar event for a specific time each day, maybe every morning from 10 to 10:05. You're going to work on filling in some of the fields in your emergency medical folder or in your Spark Life binder. You can set a reminder on your phone so it pops up at the same time each day. Hey, do 5 minutes of work. Or what I like to do, because a lot of times calendar events and reminders, sometimes there can be too many, I can avoid them, is I like to leave it next to something that I won't miss, like the coffee pot. And then while my coffee's brewing, I can work on it for just like 5 minutes and get as much done as I can in that 5 minutes before the coffee brews, right? So those are 3 ways to remember to work on it. You could do it daily, you could do it weekly, 15 minutes a week, whatever fits into your schedule, right? But you're going to break it down into chunks. So instead of thinking, I need to sit down for a few hours and power through filling in my whole emergency medical folder or filling in my whole Spark Life binder, that sounds intimidating and that's hard to find that time for. So break it down into 5 minutes a day, 15 minutes a day, 15 minutes a week, whatever fits into your schedule, right? You can also, instead of a time limit, maybe you decide, I kind of call it like small step roulette, fill in 1 to 3 blanks a day. So pick a number of blanks that you want to fill in, and then either the next ones that need to be filled in or randomly choose and pick, if you decided you're going to do 3 blanks, pick 3 blanks. Sometimes that's going to take you 5 minutes. Sometimes that might take you 20 minutes. That's okay. But you could do small step roulette and just decide how many blanks you want to fill in per day of your worksheets. The nice thing is you're not trying to figure out what needs to be entered. You're just answering the questions. So you don't have to try to remember for your emergency contacts what information you need for them, or for your vaccine information, what information should you include? You're just answering the questions. So we've made it super easy for you, right? And then the third way that you could break it down into small steps, and this is a way that I do sort of a combination when I work on things. I'll fill in what I know off the top of my head. Sometimes as I get time, I'll work on them for a certain number of minutes or fill in a certain number of blanks. But Overall, a lot of times I will leave it out where it's easy to reach. And as information comes in, that's when I fill it in. So when I get a new prescription filled and I get that prescription information, that's when I would fill in the prescription information for that piece of that part of the folder. When I get a new vaccine, that's when I would fill that in. So I will fill in some things that I might not have new information coming in, but a lot of times things are being sent to us to remind us of a lot of this information. So as things come in, or as you happen to find them when you're sorting through papers or looking for something else, then you can pull it aside and then fill it in. It is okay to skip around within either of these folders. It's okay to skip around and not do them in order. You don't have to start from the front and go one page at a time to the back. Pop around. If a blank is giving you a hard time and you're not sure where the paper is, or it's just really causing you to freeze up, skip it for now, right? Just completely skip it. You can go back to it later. Work on the blanks first that are not going to freeze you up, right? Remember that there's no deadline. There is no rush to complete this. Nobody's checking in on you to make sure that it's done, right? Any information that you add in to either of those is valuable. Even if you've not completed it, the fact that you have some of the information entered can still be valuable. So if there's an emergency and you've only entered your name, your contact information, emergency contact, and life-threatening allergies, fine. That's a lot more information than the doctors had beforehand, right? So each blank you fill in is just one step more useful, but it does not have to be complete to be useful. So don't feel like it has to be completely finished before it's even useful. So hopefully that helps you see how you can break it down into these tiny, tiny bite-sized steps and relieve a little bit of the pressure from yourself. The main whole gist of it is, though, sometimes you can take breaks and not work on it for a little bit. Just don't quit, right? It's fine to take breaks, but take a break, pause, don't quit. So if you find that you've taken a break for longer than you expected, get back on the horse and keep working on it in those little tiny bite-sized steps. Sorry, I just had to block a user from a bunch of these spam messages that they just posted. Okay. So I'm going to the chat area before I continue. And okay, so Lori says, please repeat the order of how you organize your folder. I absolutely will. Let me do that. I'm going to recap it in just a minute. So when I do the recap, let me do the recap with how it's organized too. So I will definitely do that. Susan says, thanks, Suzanne. You're so welcome, Susan. Oh, Suzanne, I lost the video. I'll leave and come back or catch the replay. Yeah, sorry about that, Suzanne. I don't know what happened for you. BT says, I have the Spark Life Binder to give my grown sons all the information about me in one place. I desperately need to complete all the info. That's my goal for the next few months. Yes. And if you just do a blank or two a day or 5 blanks a week, you will get there so much faster. I promise. It's one of those things where if we feel like it's a massive project, it's easy to keep pushing it off. But if it's a super tiny bite, you can fit in that super tiny bite, right? So that is fantastic. I love that. And your son's going to absolutely love that. They're going to love that. Mary says it's not her first time and the challenge. Well, I'm glad that you're back for the challenge, Mary. It's always good to repeat it. Ruth says, not my first time. Progress is better this time. Good. I love it. Diane, this is Diane's first time. Welcome, Diane. Woot, woot. Love it. Ruth says that she also has the full Spark Life Binder. Oh, that's fantastic. It's going to be such a relief as you take bites to get that one done too. Marvelous Marva says it's her first time. Welcome. I love the name Marvelous Marva. Lori says that she did the workshop 2 or 3 times before. Fantastic. Yes, and you've been slowly making progress on these things, taking your small steps one bite at a time. I love it. That's fantastic. For CJ says it's the first time. She loves the colored pocket folders, but hers are clear. So she personalized them by using a colorful washi tape along the edge. She had to adapt and it worked out great. Oh, I love that. Super fun. Cute idea. Lisa says, just jumping on. I did start yesterday. Yes. Process. Woohoo. I love it. Yes. Eileen is here for the first time. Welcome, welcome. And Susan says, I purchased everything I need for the project, but never went any further. I want to create both the emergency medical folder and the Spark binder in the next few months. Well, now you know how to break it down into super tiny steps. And when you grab the Spark Life binder, you also have that online library. So if you ever feel stuck or you're not sure about something and just need a reminder, you can hop in online. If you got the digital version with your print version, you can hop in online and get reminded of some of those small steps and get remotivated. So hopefully that helps. And if you ever need anything, you also have my email address, hello@susannak.com. I want everybody who grabs the Spark Life binder or has the emergency medical folder, I want you all to feel successful with this and feel confident with your life, right? That you are protected. Okay, so as I promised, I will recap for you everything that we just talked about, right? I'll do it super fast. Well, super fast, but still useful. How's that? So we talked about how to put it all together. And Lori asked, can I review the order again? And yes, I can. Okay, so when you are assembling your emergency medical folder, I like to, in the folder, the first few pages that are about it's the checklist and the home emergency information. Those I put up front before any of the dividers because those are more general for the house as a whole. Then I would put the first divider for the first person. So this one says Susanna. I'd put that divider, and behind it, I would put one set of the medical pages. Those are the pages that start with that medical alert with the life-threatening allergies, and the last page would be notes. So I put one set of those behind the first divider. Then I like to include a pocket folder behind each person's section. You can either do one for the whole folder only or one per person or both. Up to you, but I like a pocket folder behind each section. Then I do the next divider for the next person, and I do one set of just the medical pages, that medical alert, life-threatening allergy page through notes. I do that behind the next binder, and I give them a pocket folder. And then at the very end, after I've got all the dividers for each person and their medical pages set up in there, I enjoy having a business card holder, one of those 3 rings. They're like sheet protectors, but made for business card holders. And I like to have one final kind of larger pocket for additional things that I like to keep with my folder or papers that I need to add in, but I just did not have a 3-hole punch or time. So I like to put that in the back, and that's it. And then I like to label the folder so that way first responders and people who need to know what it is can easily identify it. Super, super simple, right? Easy peasy, but set it up however works best for you. If there are things you want to adjust, absolutely. All of this should be adjusted to fit what your needs are, all right? And then we talked about tricks to fill in your information faster. Remembering it's a process, not a project. There's no finish line that you're rushing towards. This is something you'll be updating off and on throughout the rest of your life. This will be with you forever. Your emergency medical folder and your Spark Life binder. You set it up once, but you'll maintain it over time and update it as things change. And it's one of the few things that we actually do buy or create, and it's to last a lifetime, right? So remember, it's a process, not a project. There's no rush to a finish line. You're going to focus on the next task, not the result, not the project as a whole. Just what is the next thing that you can do to move forward with it? You don't have to worry about how much is left. First step I like to do is fill in just what you know in your head without having to look anything up. Go through page by page and just fill those in as fast as you can, right? And then you can go back and complete the rest. And when you go back to complete the rest, that's when I like to break it down into those small steps. And as you're doing this, remember, avoid trying to be perfect, especially the first time you're going through. The goal is to get the information down so it's useful, right? So think of it as doing a rough first draft. Once it's all completed and the information's all in there, if you wanted to, and if you have time, you can go back and you can make it more perfect, more pretty, right? But do it as a rough first draft first. Make sure to capture the information. That's the goal. So then you are going to, for the rest of filling in the rest of the information, break it down to one small step at a time. Add it to your calendar or your reminders on your phone, or leave it where you can't miss it and you see it like near the coffee pot so you can work on it while the coffee is brewing. And some ways to break it down, you could set a timer, some time limit. I like 5 minutes to 15 minutes a day, something that's really doable and easy to fit into your day. Or you could choose a certain number of blanks, because these are all fill in the blanks. You're just answering the questions. You're not thinking really hard. 1 to 3 blanks a day and fill those in. Or you can do a combination of those, and as information comes in, fill it into your binder, right? When you get your driver's license renewed, then you can make a photocopy of it and update the ID information that would be in your Spark Life binder. Or when you get a new health card, you can update the health information in your emergency medical folder. So as information comes in and comes to you, or as you happen to find it around your home, that's also a good trigger to remember to fill it in. And it's okay to skip around. You don't have to do it from front to back in order. Just a reminder, there is no deadline, no rush, because any information that you enter into your folders, whether it's the emergency medical folder or the Spark Life binder, even if it's not finished, it's still useful. So every blank that you fill in just makes it a little bit more useful, right? One blank means that it's already useful. All right, so that was our recap. I hope that you're enjoying this week. You can absolutely do this. Even if you just fill in a couple of blanks that you know off the top of your head, you're making a huge start. And just chip away at it throughout the next month, okay? No rush. So let's talk about what's coming up. If you have any questions, feel free. You can always type them in the chat area in the comments, and I will gladly answer them for you. Or if you have any comments, CJ says, thank you. I've needed this for a long time. Your EMF forms in the binder order are very logical and so complete. Oh, thank you so much. It has taken me over 12 years to assemble the emergency medical folder and the Spark Life binder. I started over 12 years ago with my first rough draft, and I've been refining it since then. And I've used it with probably over 1,000 people one-on-one in my organizing business, and adjusted it for all these different lifestyles. So it's definitely been a labor of love over a long time, and I'm glad that it's so helpful now for everybody. BT, another great session. See you tomorrow. Thanks. You're so welcome. So just a reminder, everything you need, registration links, replay links, downloads, schedules, they're all on the challenge schedule page. Bookmark that page. It will be available at least until next Thursday, the 19th, possibly longer, but make sure to bookmark that page, okay? Also, if you are already ready, if you already know that you're ready to get all of the rest of your important papers and information organized into one easy place for you and for your loved ones, so that you know where everything is, and it's just one of those things that brings you so much peace. The biggest stress with our papers, especially paper piles and such, is that we're afraid that we won't be able to find what we really need when we need it. So having everything that you could possibly really need in one place, that will help you sleep at night. I know it's helped me immensely. So if you already know that you want that, and you want the easy work done with for you, already created Spark Life binder, then that's in the store until the 19th. Go to SusannaK.com and go to the store and grab your Spark Life binder. You can buy the print version that's mailed to you. It's already assembled. It's set up for each member of the family with dividers. The dividers are not labeled. You can put your own people's names on them, but other than that, it's all set up for you. And it comes with an emergency medical folder too that you can either keep or gift to somebody else, but that's already set up for you, mailed to you. You also could get it as a digital format where you can type into the fillable PDFs, print it out yourself and create your own, or you could get a combination of the both. I like both because you can get the print version so you can start really fast. And then the digital version is nice because any updates that happen in the future, you would get all the updates with the digital version. And if a page gets messy, you can just reprint it and put it back into that printed version. So it really works best together, but whatever works for you and your preferences. So you can grab the Spark Life binder through the 19th. After the 19th, the price will go up significantly, and it will not be available again until towards the end of the year. Also, if you're not sure if you want to try to build your own, or if you want to grab the Spark Life Binder, or if you know that you want to build your own, check out the Important Papers Workshop. The Important Papers Workshop is a 1-hour webinar where I tell you exactly how you can build your own life binder from scratch and how to keep it safe, how to back it up, all the information that you might possibly need. So join the Important Papers Workshop. It's free. It only happens 2 times next week, January 17th at 1 p.m. Eastern and January 18th at 6 p.m. Eastern time. If you can't make it live, there will be a replay, but if you do make it live, I have a little bonus download for you. So make sure to go to susannak.com or the challenge schedule page and register to attend the Important Papers Workshop. There are only a limited number of spots that the software can handle for people to attend the webinar. So once it's full, then you won't be able to register anymore. So make sure to register because we already actually have a lot more people registered than I expected at this point. So register if you're interested. Like Deb says about the Important Papers Workshop, she says, this is an absolutely amazing workshop. I attended before, but I've signed up to attend again. I'm in the process of working on my binder and want to make sure I'm not forgetting anything. This workshop is absolutely packed with information that you will use, which I love that, right? So register for that. And just that reminder, save time, buy your Spark Life Binder and make it easy up until the 19th. So I hope that helps you out. We do have our public group hike this Saturday. That's the 2-hour work session where if you wanted time on your calendar to be here with me and everybody else as we're working on either our emergency medical folder, Spark Life Binder, or anything else productive, then make sure to register for the public group hike. You can do that on the challenge schedule page, of course. And let's see what else. On Sunday, our live will also be a Q&A. So if you have questions, that's a great time. Let's see. So Lori has a question. She says, do you keep duplicates of what's in the emergency medical folder in the Spark Life Binder? That's up to you. I personally do, just because mostly I'm lazy and I don't want to have to look and get up from my desk and go to the Spark Life or to the emergency medical folder. If I'm looking for something, I like them to be in both places, but you don't have to. So in the Spark Life Binder, you could also just say information is in the emergency medical folder, in the kitchen, next to the toaster, or wherever you happen to keep it. So you could just reference that the emergency medical folder has that information if you don't want to duplicate it. Up to you. CJ says, see you tomorrow early. I'm off to do some of your small steps. You're definitely earlier there. So 11 a.m. is early for you guys. Lori says, do you keep the home emergency page and emergency instructions page together at the front of the folder? Yes, I do. I do. And do you keep the medical alert page and medical info page together for each person section? Yep. Yeah. So I just have the 2 sections. I have the home emergency page with emergency instructions is before the dividers. And then in each divider, it has that medical alert page with the medical info pages. Absolutely. Good questions. All right. Yep. So Susan says, ta-ta for now. Thanks so much for everything. Well, thank you too. I look forward to seeing you in the Facebook group and seeing you tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern time. Remember, 2 hours earlier. And we'll talk about how to make that folder extra awesome with things to do with the pockets, how to add photos, keep prescription information, all of my favorite tricks. So I'll see you tomorrow for that as well. And talk to you later. I love you. You're doing amazing. You got this. Bye now.